In this podcast episode, Mark Randolph, co-founder and first CEO of Netflix, discusses his entrepreneurial journey and the creation of Netflix. He explains that his background in direct response marketing and subscription businesses laid the groundwork for Netflix. Randolph met Reed Hastings when Hastings' company acquired Randolph's previous venture. They quickly recognized their complementary skills, Randolph being more intuitive and empathetic, while Hastings was more analytical and methodical. After their company was acquired, Randolph and Hastings began brainstorming ideas for a new venture. They would commute together, with Randolph pitching various concepts like personalized shampoo or pet food. Hastings would typically respond that the ideas would never work. The breakthrough came when Hastings learned about DVDs, realizing they could enable their old idea of movie rentals by mail. They immediately tested the concept by mailing a CD to see if it would arrive undamaged, which it did. Randolph emphasizes that every startup idea is initially bad, and the key is quickly and cheaply testing concepts to see what resonates with customers. He contrasts this approach with entrepreneurs who fall in love with an idea and waste time building elaborate plans without validating the core concept. Netflix went through many iterations and tests before finding its successful model. A pivotal moment for Netflix was the introduction of the subscription model with no late fees. This addressed a major pain point of video rentals and differentiated Netflix from competitors like Blockbuster. Randolph explains that removing late fees and due dates actually turned one of Netflix's biggest weaknesses, slow delivery compared to in-store rentals, into a strength. Customers could keep movies as long as they wanted without penalty, making the service more convenient than traditional rentals. Netflix faced several existential threats in its early years. During the dot-com crash in 2000, the company was burning through cash rapidly due to its subscription model, accumulating $50 million in losses. They explored selling to Blockbuster, but their $50 million asking price was met with barely suppressed laughter. Randolph vividly describes the dejected plane ride home, realizing Blockbuster wouldn't save them, but would instead compete aggressively. The company had to drastically cut costs and focus on its core business to survive. Randolph notes that Blockbuster actually came very close to defeating Netflix years later with a blended online in-store model, but internal corporate issues caused them to abandon the strategy just as it was gaining traction. Randolph discusses the famous Netflix culture of freedom and responsibility. He emphasizes that culture isn't aspirational, but observational. It stems from how founders and leaders actually behave. The Netflix approach of treating employees like adults, removing policies and approval processes, and focusing on hiring people with good judgment was an extension of how Randolph and Hastings naturally operated. This culture was particularly effective in the early startup phase when resources were limited and employees needed autonomy to solve problems. Maintaining this approach as the company grew larger was challenging, but ultimately became a key differentiator in attracting talent. Randolph also shares a pivotal moment when Hastings approached him about becoming CEO, citing concerns about Randolph's judgment in some areas. While initially hurt, Randolph realized that having Hastings as CEO might give Netflix the best chance of success. He views this decision to set aside his ego as one of his wisest moves at Netflix. Randolph shares his commitment to maintaining work-life balance, particularly through a standing Tuesday night date with his wife. He would leave work at 5 p.m. sharp, regardless of what was happening at the office. This practice not only strengthened his relationship, but also set an example for employees about the importance of life outside work. He emphasizes that while he's proud of his business accomplishments, he's even more proud of maintaining a strong marriage, good relationships with his children, and pursuing his passions for outdoor activities like backcountry skiing. He believes it's crucial to find balance between work, family, and personal interests. Throughout the interview, Randolph offers numerous insights for entrepreneurs. 1. Test ideas quickly and cheaply rather than over-planning. 2. Be willing to abandon ideas that aren't working. 3. Recognize that initial concepts often evolve dramatically. 4. Focus on solving real customer problems. 5. Be open to pivoting based on customer feedback. 6. Don't fall in love with your original idea. 7. Understand that hard work alone doesn't guarantee success. 8. Create a culture that matches your authentic leadership style. 9. Be willing to make tough decisions about people who don't fit the culture. 10. Strive for work-life balance and model it for your team. Randolph reflects on the impact of Netflix's IPO and his decision to leave the company. He notes that while the financial success was significant, it didn't dramatically change his day-to-day life or motivations. He continued working because he genuinely enjoys the process of building companies and solving problems. When asked what matters most between business success, family relationships, and personal pursuits, Randolph emphasizes the importance of balance. He believes all three elements are crucial for a fulfilling life and has worked hard to maintain that balance throughout his career. Randolph shares that one of his biggest regrets was not applying his subscription business experience to Netflix sooner. It took nearly 2 years before they tried the subscription model that ultimately became central to Netflix's success. He wishes he had thought to test that concept earlier, potentially saving time and money in the company's early struggles.